Hey, good Tuesday morning. Meteorologist Courtney Aitken with you on the app this morning in for meteorologist Ben Derry. He will be back tomorrow. Let's get right into things, starting with the sunrise time lapse. Lots of color again this morning, at least real early. You had to be up around, say, 5:30-ish to see the sunrise. And since then, we saw clouds of really all different levels here with the downtown skyline in the background. Today will feature more cloud cover than yesterday, but overall it's going to be another hot and humid day. And then by tonight, we have active weather rolling in from the west. In fact, look at this. Out in South Dakota, already a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings popping up. The warnings are going to be the things in the little yellow boxes there. And then for North Dakota, it's just some stratiform rain or messy rain that's non-severe. But it is foreshadowing as far as what's to come tonight. And before we even get to that, I want to talk about last night, because that was an active evening of weather. We had this line of storms developing in northwestern Minnesota, and this is generally what we did expect to happen. We expected this line of storms to develop and then gradually start to fall apart as it got closer to the Twin Cities. I'm going to step off camera here so that I can roll the radar back and we can take this really slowly, step by step. So we're going back in time here. This was last night at 9:05. Look at these storms out just to the north of Alexandria. All of that lightning, very strong storms here, heavy rain coming down, damaging wind gusts with these. But generally, this is what models were painting for yesterday. We did expect this line of storms to form. Now, let me put this back into motion and show you what happened from there. So as we got through the 9-10 o'clock hour, notice how well the line holds together, and it stretches all the way from Duluth to the north of the Twin Cities, all the way through Alexandria, and the very end tail of it is stretching into South Dakota. So we did expect that after dark last night, this line would come apart a little bit, but you can see getting into the 11 o'clock hour, these storms were no longer severe at this point, but they were still quite strong. So we saw this activity making its way into the Twin Cities metro a little bit after midnight. And here's where the models were a little bit more correct. By about 1 a.m., this was right about as I was getting up this morning, or middle of the night, truly. But the line comes apart here. So for the Twin Cities, we did get briefly heavy rain, but we didn't get anything severe because the line broke. It came apart. You have some rain stretching up to Duluth, but it's no longer more of a line. We still did have a little bit of line action here from Marshall over to Mankato. These storms down here did hold together all the way through about 3 o'clock in the morning. There was a warning down in Cottonwood County. It only lasted about 20 minutes, and then all of the storm activity migrated into Iowa. Let's talk about the big headline this morning, and that was numerous reports of what was likely a tornado that happened last night in Becker County. This was in the Detroit Lakes area, and we had a number of reports here. This big blue box that you're seeing on your screen is just one of the reports here. So we had a report near Hamden, and then further down here, and then closer to the lake itself. So what's going to happen at this point? I'm recording this Tuesday morning, I'd say, what is it, around 9:15 in the morning. So probably as we speak, the National Weather Service of Grand Forks, North Dakota, that's the office that takes care of the Detroit Lakes area. They're going to head out to this region. They're going to take a look at all of these report sites where there is damage. For example, snap trees, roofs off buildings, fences down, lots of debris. By the way, this happened yesterday between 7 and 8 o'clock in the evening. So the National Weather Service is going to head out there. They're going to survey the damage, and that will help them to determine the length of the tornado, the path of the tornado, the maximum wind gusts, and all of that information, along with the damage that they see out there, will help them to determine what the ranking of the tornado was. So was this an EF1? Was it an EF0? So on and so forth. This will take several hours. We should have that information in by later this afternoon. So make sure you tune in to our 4, 5, and 6 o'clock newscasts if you are curious. I hope you were able to stay safe last night. Additional report of a possible tornado. This one came out of Grant County last night at about 9:16. There was a chaser near Herman, and they reported seeing a tornado briefly touch the ground near the city of Norcross. So that could be another area that the National Weather Service heads out and surveys later today. Zooming it out to the full state view, along with those reports of potential tornadoes, which we'll know more about by the end of the day today. We had a few reports of hail. You can see those here, and lots of wind damage reports. Of course, we had that line of storms, and whenever we have a line of storms, I always say that elevates the wind threat. Okay, so that has last night covered. We've talked enough about that. Now let's move forward. What are we expecting for tonight? Because we have another weather impact alert going into effect. And I mentioned this earlier, storms starting to develop over the Dakotas. A couple severe thunderstorm warnings in South Dakota. So that is the same activity that could cause us some problems later today. This is our severe weather outlook. Note that it is today, but nothing's really going to happen until tonight. So let's zoom a little bit closer in here. This is still a level 1 here in green. That's our marginal risk. That's going to be for the East Metro and this western nose of Wisconsin. And then out here in the yellow, slightly higher risk of storms, and that is called a slight risk. And so within that yellow region, we do expect scattered, strong to severe storms. On top of that, we have a risk for excessive rainfall. I know they look similar, but just keep in mind these are two different things. The severe weather risk comes from the Storm Prediction Center. The excessive rainfall risk comes from the Weather Prediction Center. Now, within this large yellow area, basically anywhere within 25 miles that you see that yellow shading, we could see up to 3 inches of rainfall. So that's a level 2 threat for flash flooding. I don't expect that we see any life-threatening flooding by any means, but it is likely that we see overflowing of creeks, and anywhere that typically floods during heavy rain events, that's where we could see some problems. The trouble is, it is tough to predict where these storms are going to set up. Last night's forecast was still a difficult one, but it was a little bit easier because we had the confidence that we would see a line of storms. With tonight, we're confident about the timing. It'll probably happen after dark. We're confident about the threats, which are severe weather and heavy rainfall, but where the heavy rain sets up, that is the difficult part. So I really just want you to be weather aware tonight. If you're somebody who likes to watch weather, likes to watch the radar on a weather app. Tonight's a great night to do that. There will be a lot of action. And either way, whether you like to look at the radar or not, make sure that you have weather notifications turned on so that you know as soon as there is an alert in your area. Okay, so tonight, weather impact alert goes into effect at 10 o'clock. It's going to be with us all the way through the night. I do expect clusters of strong storms, and any storm that develops is going to drop very heavy rainfall. Let's go ahead and take a look at our in-house model here. This wants to paint in some showers around 10 a.m. this morning. I really don't think that's going to happen. As we get into the 3 and 4 o'clock hour this afternoon, we've got a mix of clouds and sun. Can't rule out a couple of spotty showers, very benign activity. It's going to be hot and humid. Then as we get into nightfall, storms start to roll in from the west. So Moorhead to Alexandria, Ortonville, even as far south as Marshall and Laverne, you'll be some of the first to see the activity. Really everybody in the western part of the state, you'll be the first to see those storms. Then they begin to do what we call training. So notice how we have this cluster that stretches from nearly Hayward and Menominee all the way out to pretty much into South Dakota. So these storms could stretch a long ways, dropping heavy rainfall and not moving much. It's like a train that's just slowly going and you're waiting for it to pass and you're waiting and you're waiting. That's kind of how these storms behave. And when they do that, when they train, that elevates the flood risk because you have a storm that's dropping heavy rain and it's moving slowly. So all of that rain can really accumulate rather quickly. That's what we expect overnight tonight. Now, mind the clock up here. This is tomorrow morning, a little bit before 8 a.m. We still have pockets of heavy rain in the area. Unfortunately, again, it's hard to predict where those pockets of heavy rain will set up, but I think for some of you, it could be a potentially wet morning commute tomorrow. As we go through our Wednesday, those rain chances will decrease throughout the day, and by the evening, we should be dry. But until then, anywhere between an inch and even as much as 3 inches of rain are possible. And this is a model that's been, I'll be honest with you, all over the place this morning. Mainly in this general area where you see all of those brighter colors, the blue, the purple, the red. Those rain totals have changed numerous times just within the past few hours. What hasn't changed is the area. It's this same area that we are expecting to see those higher rain totals. So whether it's an inch, whether it's 2 inches, whether it's closer to 3, that's enough to cause some problems. Tomorrow's forecast likely to be a little bit cooler depending on how much rain we see. If we get 2-3 inches of rainfall, that's probably going to keep our temperatures a little bit on the cooler side. You can see for your Wednesday, we're forecasting 70s for Blaine, Cambridge, Princeton, St. Cloud, 79 in Maple Lake. For the Twin Cities, we'll probably end up somewhere in the low 80s. Now, as I said, the severe weather risk for your Wednesday goes down because the rain chances go down throughout the day, but at least for the morning there is a chance for severe storms. It is low. Within this green stripe we've got a level 1, or what we call a marginal risk. That's going to include Menominee, the Twin Cities, Mankato, Jackson, all the way down to Laverne and parts of Iowa as well as South Dakota. And then for Rochester, La Crosse, areas across central Wisconsin and again down into Iowa where you have the yellow color, that's a level 2 out of 5 or slight risk of severe weather. Let's walk through your 7-day. Today, it's hot, it's humid. Storms arrive late. Our weather impact alert doesn't go into effect until 10 p.m. tonight. And after that, it is game on for those storms. We are expecting to see pockets of very heavy rainfall. Anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rain will be possible by about noon tomorrow. So our weather impact alert technically goes all the way through the end of the day on Wednesday, but I think that most of the rain and storms will happen before the noon hour. Thursday, we are drying out. We'll see highs only in the lower 80s, so that's the coolest day of the week. Friday looks beautiful. Nice and refreshing in the morning with mid to lower 60s, and then the afternoon is that Goldilocks weather. Not too hot, not too cold. 84, a mix of clouds and sun. Great way to end the week. Saturday is bright and getting warmer, 88 for a high. Sunday, you'll really notice heating up. Upper 60s in the morning, so we'll be muggy too. Lower 90s in the afternoon. Monday, just plain hot. Call it what it is, right? Upper 60s in the morning, lower 90s in the afternoon. And it does look like that may be that, goodness, you talk for 15 minutes and you just have two of the same words in a row. It looks like the beginning of next week may be the beginning of a little bit of a heat wave. So we're likely to see more of those 90s as we get into next week, and we may see less rain chances. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself looking that far out, but that is something that we're watching into next week, which is heat. Again, let's take a quick look at your forecast for today, just so you have an idea of the timing. We are dry through the end of the day today. Storms arrive tonight. They'll bring heavy rain and and potential severe weather. Tomorrow, pockets of heavy rain will linger at least through the morning, and by tomorrow afternoon, we may have racked up to 3 inches of rain. Highs for today are in the upper 80s. It'll be hot, it'll be muggy, it'll feel like lower 90s, and by chance maybe you have tickets to the game tonight. Target Field, first pitch at 6:40. The Twins are playing the Guardians, and I think that the game will go on as planned because the storms don't roll in until a little bit later. So it will be warm, it will be muggy, but no need to worry about severe weather if you are headed to the game. Here is your 7-day one last time weather impact alert. Starts at 10 o'clock tonight. Stay weather aware.